Welcome everybody to another World of Tanks replay. My name is Maxwell and this one is from the user Moose. And he's driving the AMX 1390 on a standard battle on the Sacred Valley. The AMX 1390 is a tier 8 light tank from the French. Told you we're on a bit of a French kick this week. So this one is going to be a masterclass on how to drive an auto-loading light tank. Delivered by a player who really knows what they are doing. So straight away going to be heading to the middle of the map to try and see if you can spot anybody making an early cheeky move through the center here. Sometimes you get medium tanks or medium tank packs wanting to make a quick pass through the middle here. So Moose is just kind of standing guard, waiting to see if anybody wants to make that maneuver. The upside of that, the flip side of that is if nobody does make a move through this central area here, then it leaves it free for them to do the same. You see he has an M41 Bulldog on his right, but it looks like the Bulldog is also just getting into a defensive style position. Nobody really showing up just yet. Looks like the center is pretty clear. This one is only a tier 9 match, not tier 10. We're not going to have two big tanks to contend with. But to be honest, for a light tank, even tier 9 mediums can be a problem. Not too many tanks being spotted out just yet. The T49 has his shot. Moose reacted to it just in time. Not really sure if he's going to have the reload to be able to take him out before the T49 reloads. Has to be careful because this T49 could absolutely wreck his day. M41 Bulldog comes around the corner and says, nope, I'd quite like to have that kill actually. Steals away the last little bit of damage to take out the T49. But let's be fair. The T49 could have reloaded in that split second and then killed Moose. So it's probably good that the M41 Bulldog was there regardless. He's just going to sit behind this rock and allow his gun to reload. Nobody really paying attention to this area here. Looks like there's nobody really in the center at all. That T49 came in fairly cagey, which kind of goes to show that he doesn't really have support. If a tank moves into an area kind of cagey, then you can pretty much tell that they don't have much support behind them. But if they come flying in balls deep, then you can kind of expect them to have a few guns behind them at least, or somebody else coming as a backup. So you can see the two light tanks making a beeline towards the cap circle here. Probably going for some of this artillery. There's a GW Tiger and a Crusader SP. Going to see if he goes through the cap circle. Nope, making the cheeky little maneuver of moving around the cap circle. That just makes sure that nobody knows that they are coming. If you go through that cap circle, that's going to give the artillery an early warning. Finds the Crusader SP first. Going to take him out first and then switch his attention across to this GW Tiger. M41 Bulldog moving in from the other direction. Has two misses there, a little bit unfortunate. The last one does hit and the M41 Bulldog gets him as well. And that's a very nice 1500 damage so far. And a kill. That's himself. No, it wasn't the Bulldog. That was an MT25 making a move in. Oh yes, and a Bulldog's already here. So 3 light tanks came in and took out all of the artillery. A shot did land nearby though. So Moose is just going to have to get into cover. Just having a look on that right hand side to see who's there. There is a Super Pershing. Super Pershing is going to be slightly difficult to pen even for the AMX 1390. You can see its standard ammunition, if it wants to show up, only has 170mm of pen, 240 average damage. The length of time between reloads of this autoloader does tend to be fairly long. Going to move in a lot closer before he has his shot. As you can see, just keeps out of traverse range and speed of this Super Pershing until he goes up the hill, and the Super Pershing is able to out-traverse him. Luckily, the artillery lands to take out his track and most of his hit points, and that allows Moose to finish him off with a quick kill. And that's kill number 2. And 2,000 damage. Still got 3 shells in the container, so deciding to keep those because it is a fairly long reload for a full mag. 3 shells is still 750 odd average damage, so you can still do some good work. You can see this autoloader with its 6 shells is able to kick out almost 1500 damage with its fully loaded magazine. It's one good hit on that T-34, then has to move. That T-34 may not make the mistake of backing off again. Looks like they can smell blood in the water and they can see the light tank there. Actually, there is almost nothing but light tanks left for the Allied team here. They do have an AFK WZ-111 in base. Moose decides to use this opportunity to reload his cannon. Going to get away from the north of the map. Unfortunately, that does mean leaving the Bulldog and the MT-25 to die. But to be honest, there wasn't really much he was going to be able to do about that. They do still have both of their artillery though, so if you can keep eyes on the enemy team, it will allow his artillery to hopefully get some damage onto them. And that WZ should passively spot anybody who makes a move towards the base. Even though he's AFK, you can still use his eyes and his hit points to your advantage. Looks like most of the enemy team moved in towards their cap circle in a defensive motion, even though they are more than winning this battle. They are way ahead. Although they maybe don't realise that this WZ is AFK. Even with the WZ not AFK, they are way ahead in this game. So it looks like the WZ isn't AFK. He's actually a bot, as his turret is moving side to side. It's one of the simplest bots you get in the game. If there are no tanks spotted, they'll generally just sit and rotate the turret until somebody becomes spotted, and then they will come to life. So squaring off against two higher tier tanks here, but both of them are a one-shot. Moose just has to use some cover here to get in close, which he does. Doesn't quite land his shot, but he has got the speed. He gets around, gets the hit, and gets the kill, using the buildings and the terrain to his advantage there to get alongside that Object 430 Mark II and get his shot off before he can do anything about it. Now he's going to have to use the hit points of this WZ to keep him safe from the T-34, who has fired now. He's going to come alongside him. Looks like the T-34 is either given up or doesn't have the turret rotate speed. That one does go through. One more shot should be all it takes to take this guy out. And that is kill number 4. But it looks like this IS-3 is coming steaming in now. He knows that Moose doesn't have any shells left, but can he get away in time? The IS-3 just about misses there, and he decides to get away. He's got to put some distance between himself and the enemy team as the net was closing in. He didn't have any shells left, so it is time to put some distance. Does see a Rheinmetall on that left-hand side. Luckily, the Rheinmetall only takes his track out. His gun isn't quite loaded yet, so he can't return fire. The Rheinmetall ditches down into the valley. Gonna wait for his camo to kick back in and then maybe circle around to get him. They have started a base capture, but it is going to take a while. Moose decides to take the off-road route and get down the mountain as quickly as possible, as this Rheinmetall was coming up to get him. But he gets the hit on him to take him out for kill number 5. Does still have an artillery piece, but he's under fire now. 2 of them in the cap circle. Moose has got to play this one very, very carefully. And to be honest, he only has standard AP shells loaded. I probably would have had APCR loaded by now. Here we go. Finds the rat's nest. Doesn't quite land his first shot. T-32 is coming in for a ram. He gets taken out. The ISU is not in a position to do anything about this. Can he land the shots? He can indeed. One more hit to take out the ISU. There we go. He is gone. The Moose decides to spin around and get the hell out of there. Decides to load APCR this time. I don't think it's for the extra penetration. It's just so that he has 6 shells in the container. This IS-3 only has 2 health. But Moose has the speed, has the maneuverability, and to be honest, has the game on his side. Looks like the IS-3 didn't know what to do, so decides to go for a base capture. Moose knows he's got all the time in the world, so switches back to AP shells. Doesn't want to waste the cash on APCR. He has the time for the reload. 4 shells in the container should be more than enough to take out a 2-hit point IS-3. But famous last words, more prophetic famous last words have never been spoken. There's absolutely all the chance in the world that an IS-3 could easily bounce 4 shells, even on side or rear armor, from an AMX 1390. Looks like he's hiding behind the buildings here. Best move Actually, that's not a particularly... Before we go into this, I'm going to say that's not particularly a good idea, being hidden behind the buildings here, because what this means is that the AMX 1390 of Moose can use this building as cover, then transition across to this building, use that one as cover, and then get around the back of the IS-3 without the IS-3 being able to do anything at all. What he probably should have done is sat behind this building right here with his front poking out and his gun pointed this way, so that as Moose came in, he had no other choice but to go around this direction, and then you could have been prepared for that maneuver. If he'd come around this direction, you would have been able to get shots on him for days. So a little bit of a mistake by the IS-3 there. Let's play the replay and see what Moose does. As you see, comes in, cuts around, uses both these buildings, gets ammo racked, but he just needs one shot. One shot is what he gets. That is the kill, and that is the win. And like I said, if that IS-3 had sat out in the open with a little bit less cover, possibly could have taken that one away. But still, that's taking absolutely nothing away from Moose. He's played an absolutely amazing game, picking himself up 3,700 points of damage, almost 4,000, 8 kills, Radley Walters medal. I didn't notice whether it was a Kolobanov's, but I'm sure it possibly was, but maybe not. But anyway, absolutely excellent game played there by Moose, showing off his skills in the AMX 1390. Thank you very much for sending that replay in. Don't forget, guys, if you've got yourself a great replay, send that into replay@screenreality.com. The link for that's in the description. I've been Maxwell. This has been a World of Tanks replay, and I'll catch you guys next time.